Hey buds, what's going on? Vosteed. Got my hands on the Raccoon, the aluminum version. And hold on, something else is different. Something else is different. What could it be? Well, let's come in and compare it to my other, my other Raccoon. Okay. Do you see something different? This looks like a button lock. So does this. This ain't no button lock. So that's different, isn't it? Otherwise, yeah, same length. Same length, okay? Whew. Yeah, I'm a mess, aren't I? I got a lot of raccoons. And where's the box for that one? It's over here. Okay. Rattle, rattle. Something's rolling around in there. So apparently, I like the raccoon. I do. I think this blade shape is really nice. This is a really good design, isn't it? I mean, this is comfortable in the hand. It's a 3¼ inch blade. And so I'm harassing YUE. He's the owner, he's the designer and all that, and he's doing all these designs, right? Like the corgi and this and whatever, right? The T-bird and etc. etc. So this one also is Nitro-V. Okay, so this is a Nitro-V steel on there. And this is blue aluminum, but it's kind of a gunmetal blue. Okay, so it's not as fantastically G10 blue as this. And it's definitely not the same as the micarta blue. Although those are nice, aren't they? So, I don't know. I can't decide what my favorite color is. Should it be blue? Could it be blue? It could possibly be blue. So, that's what I'm saying. The aluminum model is out. So if you're not partial to button locks, maybe you ought to try this. Now, are they calling this a Trek lock, crossbar lock? I just do the axis lock thing, that's the way I think about it. And so, it's got the Omega springs, all that kind of stuff, wound around here, stuck inside, blah, blah, blah. And you can kind of probably see a little about where, does it show you the little hole where it's stuck into over there? But there it is. And there's the liners in there, by the way, steel liners, and they're skeletonized, etc., etc. Got great action on it. This is super easy to function with, and kicks open, middle finger flick, thumb flick, that kind of thing. But it's the same size, 3¼ 3¼ inch blade. You go 3¼ which is what, 85 millimeters, and 7 5/8 at like 19 centimeters. Okay, so Nitro-V, interesting. Not sure why they did the change up from 14C to Nitro-V. And I Googled it, and, I just looked at I just happened to, when I Googled it, one of the results were Laren Thomas article on Nitro-V, okay? And then he was talking about the fact that Nitro-V is pretty much indistinguishable from AEBL, okay? Nitro-V has one pretty significant characteristic, which is toughness. Not hardness, but toughness. So it could take a beating. It could take a licking and keep on ticking, okay? That's the Nitro-V. Otherwise, as far as performance goes, it's not going to be significantly different than the 14C. In fact, the 14C, depending on heat treat and all that kind of stuff, 14C could outperform it, So 13%, chromium, 14% chromium. The difference in the mix, there's a difference in the mix, right? So they are different steels. They have different characteristics. But, and you could look at his articles where he has 14C, LC200N, AEBL, Nitro-V, all kind of hanging around in that mix that he kind of lumps them together and looks at them. Okay, that kind of thing. So there is that. And what is this? This is an LC200N, right? This is the salt. This is a nitrogen steel, right? And so I can't remember what he said about this, how this one ends up getting a lot of its edge retention capabilities because it's a heavy nitrogen type steel. So he was imagining maybe that the carb, or not the carbon, but the chromium content in here may form certain other kinds of carbides that may assist in edge retention. But these are not edge retention beasts. I mean, I've got the T-Bird. I did that video recently about the T-Bird in LMAX. LMAX is a whole different animal, right? LMAX is way up the chart as far as edge retention. But okay, but Nitro-V, toughness, a true stainless, nice user steel, should be pretty easy to maintain and sharpen, pretty corrosion resistant, just like the 14C, okay? So the big difference here that I'm seeing is it's nice change up with aluminum, kind of a gunmetal gray looking thing. The pattern on here, good for texture and grip. This is no slouch though. This is fine, okay? And then of course the micarta, that's no slouch either, right? That feels pretty good and grippy, okay? So there's that. But this one is different. If this is something that appeals to you, is to have some kind of a metal handle as opposed to a synthetic or a micarta fabric type thing based deal, then this might be your cup of tea, especially if you like this Trek lock or crossbar lock type thing and you prefer that over a button lock. I know there's some people that are getting a little wary of button locks. There's button stick, maybe the lockup doesn't, it's not as robust as they would like or whatever. It depends on who they are, and I'm fine with button locks. I like them really well, but this is also an alternative I think that he's wanting to do here. And deep carry, pocket clip, right or left hand side, just like the others, okay? Now, I'm waiting for the big biggie to come out, the XL. You know a Raccoon XL's coming out. It will be interesting to see if he does it in button lock or if he does it in this Trek lock. I think this is what it's called. And so that would be interesting. And XL Raccoon, let me see, Trek lock, button lock, maybe button lock, Ultim. And I know Ultim, it's like, it's piss yellow, blah, blah, blah. I think there's a lot of people that poo-poo the Ultim. I like it. It kind of harkens back to mid-century modern in the 20th century, and when plastics came out, and Ultim didn't come out until like the early 1980s. But I mean, the Bakelite and all those plastics that were used for a lot of different purposes, they came out in the 1930s. They were really in full bore. It was kind of the cool thing in the 1950s, 60s, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, that kind of gets me back to, my first knife I ever had an acrylic scale on it. I mean, it was steel underneath, but it had acrylic, that fancy acrylic. And so that's interesting as well. So plastics are fantastic. They're interesting things. And the Ultim to me is. Now, if we could do Ultim in other colors, and I see that they do at least kind of a grayish one. So I don't know. I've never seen any other color in Ultim. I mean, PEI. That's the chemical short name for it, okay? But it's very non-conductive. It's very resistant to heat. It's a tough material, that kind of thing. But that or G10. I'm not as enthralled with this type of micarta. I don't mind a polished, impregnated micarta, but I'm not as big on this. And that's why I bought this. Because I got this one off of Amazon, I think. And, they have all different colors of Raccoon on there. So this is way cool. But it's comfortable. You got this cutaway here, so you don't have to worry about the smile. And when you coming up, your sharpening your blade and coming up on that plunge grind and stuff. So you're clear here. You're clear. Nice, usable, sensible blade. And just the whole design is very simple, but nice. It's very pleasant to the eye. I like it as well. And so it's just, sometimes less is more. And these raccoons, I like. Now, for him to do the change up on it, I don't need to see a raccoon in a liner lock. Sorry, I don't. But this, in either this Trek lock or the button lock in an XL would be the next step. And he's got some ground to exploit here because I think the raccoon's very, very popular. So that's my spiel on the raccoon. Check him out. Nitro-V aluminum. This is things on bearings, etc., etc. Okay? And it can be a little frustrating when you pop these things apart because you got to take the Omega spring off that side and that side, right? And then you can move this down to an open area and push it through. But you got to get these scales off first to expose the little open area where you can push this this bar through so that you can separate the knife and take that apart. So it's always, it drives me crazy. I've done this on other videos where I've taken Omega spring knives apart, and other than the clutch lock that Kaiser does, these others are tough because they don't give you an in on the other side. So they don't have a 3-piece pivot. So you have to push that. It's a long story, but okay. So it drives me nuts to disassemble, reassemble them a little bit. It's really fidgety. So I don't do it on my channel much anymore. But I do really like the lock setup. I think it's really solid, This is solid, okay? This is coming across. This is locking it up, right? That's pretty damn good. That feels pretty solid. So I think this would inspire more confidence that way. You may or may not like the aluminum fact. Some people go, aluminum scratches up, blah, blah, blah. Well, titanium scratches up. A lot of things scratch up, okay? I take pretty good care of my knives. I don't necessarily just toss them here or there. I mean, I'm not abusive towards them, and I don't know. What would I have to do to scratch the hell out of this? I don't know. I keep it in a drawer that's a wooden drawer, so the wood's not going to scratch it. And, I don't know. I mean, I keep it in a pocket away from other things. Put my keys in the other side, whatever. But aluminum, I like. I like aluminum. And ProTech does too, don't they? And even, you've got Medford knives does aluminum as well. So there's a lot of knives using aluminum. Okay, I'm done arguing with myself. The raccoon, what do you think? Aluminum, Nitro-V? That's cool. That's cool. Remember when this came out, Nitro-V, the Perpetua TJ Schwartz design, mass drop, remember that? Look it up, okay? I think I still have my Perpetua, and it was the first axis lock setup that came out after Benchmade's patent expired. Remember that? And that was the deal, right? Made by what? Millet Knives, right? In the USA. Nitro-V, TJ Schwartz, the Perpetua. God, my brain still functions somewhat. Okay, somewhat. Okay, I'm gonna let you go before I get myself in any more trouble. Yes, we do. We love them knives. Check out my website for pre-owned knives. But I'll give you the links to Vosteed. You never know. I'll put a discount code down there if I've got one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But remember, White Mountain Knives carries Vosteed, and the LTK discount code gives you 10% off there as well, okay? So there are multiple, and Amazon, check them out there as well, okay? They're there. And you guys, stay sharp.